Hello, business leaders. It's Catherine Dager here, and I'm back after 2 weeks of travel and adventures and also doing a whole leadership course. So I've got some great things to share with you tonight, and also I have some new insights that I want to share. So have you ever gone into work and you just see nothing but flaws? Like everywhere you see people not finishing projects, or maybe you're frustrated because you stop counting after 80 hours of work and you see other people leaving right at 5 o'clock. So here's the thing. And you know what? I know that people are clock watchers and sometimes they just drop the ball and throw it back in your court. Also, don't you want people to pitch in and participate with you? I'd say so. You can't do it all by yourself, can you? And then the other thing is that sometimes, we just really need to take a step back, take a look at what's working and what's not. And then this is, again, a reminder really of what you already know. But isn't it refreshing every once in a while to just say, you know what? I'm going to take a deeper dive, a deeper look into what I'm doing that creates some of my own frustrations. Because I'm going to tell you, life is a mirror. And what we see reflected can give us some good hints about what we're doing and how we're behaving and performing. So I'm going to share 3 ways for you to get your life back and have your team share the responsibility. So you are not the only one getting it done. The key for leadership and management is to get great at getting things done through others without doing it all yourself, right? You want a life, and we want you to have a life as well. So I'm curious, what is your relationship with the individuals on your team? Do they know what you expect from them? Are you clear in maybe having it in writing or defining what good looks like so people know what's expected every day? Or are you keeping that all inside of yourself and just getting disappointed in the people on your team? These are some of the habits that we end up sinking back into. And I'm going to tell you that we want people to perform at your standards, but your job is to get clear about what it is you really want to do. Hi, nice to see you. So here, and the other part that's so great is that the opportunity you have is to be extremely careful about your behavior, because in a lot of ways, they're reflecting you. So first of all, I'll tell you why I care so much. My name is Catherine Dager. I've owned Profitivity Inc. for 32 years, and I have made it my personal mission to make every workforce that I work with, every one of the companies that I've worked with for 32 years, create a work environment where people can't wait to go in every day, roll their sleeves up, and get involved. And I'll tell you what, it's not hard to do. But if you're suffering, then you really need to pay close attention to what I'm saying, because it's real. And I work with hundreds of organizations, hundreds of managers and leaders, and I hear the same frustrations all of the time. So I made it my personal responsibility to study human behavior and psychology. And I've really learned what it is we can do every single day to bring out the best in ourselves, so that we can bring out the best in the people around us, including our customers. And if we're not doing that, and we're not taking the responsibility, very often we sink into blame. And when you're blaming, how much responsibility are you taking? So I'm just going to say that I've transformed. In fact, my clients call me the queen of company transformation. And what we do is we work first of all with the leaders, get your mindset back into the passion that you started when you took the position and what it is you really wanted to create. And when you connect back with that, there's an alignment that goes on that's really important. And if you're not in alignment, it starts looking like everything's a flaw. So here's what I want to say, find a flaw. I was a regional manager of general nutrition centers in 1980, I mean, way back when. But I remember I had a boss that all he would do is tell me what was wrong, tell me what was wrong, tell me what was wrong. But I tell you what, his face was always pinched, and everybody around him was defensive because they didn't want to disappoint him, and they just didn't want to get blamed. And that's what we are afraid of. And deep down inside, we don't like to be judged. It cuts us off. In fact, it cuts off our passion. So if you see people around you stepping back, not so sure if they're going to actually take a step toward you and ask you what it is you want, this may be one of the unconscious patterns that you've created, because it is very common. And sometimes people had a parent that just always found a flaw, thinking they were doing a service to their child. And the truth is, what we really want to do is turn that thing off, because it is judgmental, it's full of blame, and also when you're dealing with adults, they just do not want to deal with that. They don't want to be, hi Mark, nice to see you. What we really want is to have people cheering us on and supportive. So here's the find the flaw game. If you walk in and all you see around you is the mistakes people have made, or the things that aren't finished, or the things that they said, yes, they'll do it, and they don't. There are many things we can do in the culture to work with that. But I want to start with you. So think about it. If you're looking for what's wrong, hi, Dawn. If you're looking for what's wrong, guess what you're going to see? What's wrong? Now, I've got to say, in some noble areas as well, you're taking responsibility. You really want everything to succeed. So in a way that you're attempting to control things. But what I notice is you can't control anything, especially another human being. Have you noticed that? You can't control their outcomes. You can't control what they want. And one of the things, we're writing a book, Danielle Isaac, who's my business partner, we're writing a book called From Lackluster to Dazzling. And we are finding out that it's so important for leaders to understand that employees work for their own purpose. Employees work for their own reasons, not yours. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you is, instead of looking for what's not working, we want you to start shifting that. And the other thing about it is, when you walk in and your whole day is finding flaws and seeing what people haven't done, what happens to you physically? Like, does it twist your gut so you're like going, ew, I don't even want to be here today? Or do you get just disappointed? And when you get disappointed, what happens to your facial expression? Literally. So what are people reading on your face? And also, what does that cause in their relationship back with you? So I'm going to give you a little mirror to look into. Here's a hint. Do they constantly ask you what to do next? Like, they finish and then they come back and they go, okay, what's done? What do I have to do now? Or they start asking you a million questions so that you'll spell everything out in detail because they're so afraid of making a mistake. And I'm going to tell you this. Employees want to please their boss. They do. They don't sit around thinking about, what can I do to make him or her miserable? That's not what they're up to. They're really wanting to do a great job, and they want to be a part of something. They want to be in on something. So if you start looking for what's going great, you're going to see more of that. And also, the more you promote and prompt that, the environment starts to shift around. In fact, when that happened to me, and I ended up taking that guy's position, which was cool, way back in the 80s, and I went, I am not going to play that game. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to take my employee's arm and say, what do you see needs to be done? Instead of making the list of all the things, the audit, all the things that need to be changed. What I noticed is that when it came from the regional manager, Nothing was done. See, he just handed the list like a traffic report, to the store manager and walked away. And I saw that the retention of that, first of all, caring about something, employee turnover was horrible. And a lot of it was because of this management and leadership style of trying to over-control people. So the way I did it, yes, we had to do an audit. That was part of the deal. When I went to all the stores, I had 110 stores in 6 states at that time. And so I'd go to visit a store, but I'd hand a little, this clipboard with the audit on it, and I'd hand it to the store manager and the district manager that was with me. And I said to the store manager, let's just walk around and take a look together at all the things that really need to be done. And then you can determine when you'll have them done. So I just handed it over to that person. And you know what? They saw things I didn't even see. Because we were supportive, they would come into all kinds of detail. And I want to ask you this. How fast do you think they actually did it? Fast. It was done really accurately. It was done on time because it was their idea. So hand the clipboard over to your teammates and say, hey, you tell me how to get this done, and quit thinking it through for them. The other thing that is so important is that you have a magical tool. Now, as I said, I finished a course today, a 5-week course that we did, and it's so funny. 2 of the owners said the same thing, one of the biggest things they got out of this course. And that is, they had no idea how negative they were really being. But what I was showing them, that part of the way our mind works is we have a marvelous filtering system called the reticular activating system. And because we have so much noise and traffic and just impulses and all this stuff coming at us, our brain starts to screen some of this out because it's just too much stimulus for us to handle. So what the brain does, and it's so cool, is it starts actually organizing what to look for. So just right now, wherever you are, look around the room and look for everything in the room that's yellow. So look around the room for everything that's yellow. Have you seen it? You can even see a little bit of yellow in my stuff. Okay, now close your eyes. What was blue? Now open your eyes. I hope you're laughing. When you look for yellow, you'll see yellow. When you look for blue, you'll see blue, and you won't see all of the other colors because you're programming your brain to look for something. So this is what's so powerful. Your mind is a goal machine. It loves to seek out and find the goal. And when you're focused on what it is you're looking for, and I'm saying now, make it the positive so that you can observe the positive and you can reinforce the positive and you can reinforce what good looks like. So look for what is working. And if you find yourself going back to find a flaw, you're going to see the people around you reacting to that. So what I'm saying to you is you can program your brain to really look for it all. And this came from 2 owners today, 2 business owners. They said they realized that they were just eliminating everything else but the flaws, and that they had been really focused on just yellow. In fact, one of them says, I just called it my yellow because I could see how limiting it was that I was thinking that way. And as long as I'm thinking that way, I'm reacting that way. My business is this big instead of expanded. I don't look for possibilities. I'm looking for that flaw and trying to change it. So with just that one technique and that one fabulous purpose, you can start to shift. Now, there is a truckload of other things that goes with that. So we can't do it all, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to invite you to something that's quite extraordinary. And I'm going to be actually conducting this incredible webinar next week, Tuesday, and it's what is that date? I didn't write it down, did I? So yeah, May 16th at 2:00 p.m. Pacific time, so that's 5 o'clock Eastern time. And we are doing, it is really literally a leadership consciousness webinar. So it's like, just what can I do to wake myself up to start having a better result through the people that I'm working in, instead of just finding a flaw. And the truth is, we've got so much to share with you. This webinar is 45 minutes. It's loaded with great tools. And so I'm going to ask you, call to action, sign up for our webinar. You will be so glad you did. And in the meantime, I'm going to say that the two business owners that we're talking about, just looking at just the negative, and they found themselves, that was their habit. What ended up happening is the people around them started to change when they were changing. So the people around them started responding to the positive in such a great way. It started to shift the culture. So you think, sometimes, oh, we're stuck, it's not going to get better, and I'm going to stay overwhelmed, and I'm the only one that's going to work all these zillions of hours, and everybody's going to leave right at 5. But the truth is, you're driving a lot of that to happen that way. If you stay unconscious, and staying unconscious doesn't mean you're mean and nasty and awful. It just means that you've gone to sleep, and that some of the things that you have as an opportunity, you're just not seeing. And when you do start seeing them and incorporating them, your life will change. So I'm just saying, you create your reality. This is an important part of your reality. I hear business owners and leaders telling me 80% of their life is about work. 80%. And when it's not going well, I talked to a business owner today, and she's telling me she's getting maybe 4 hours of sleep at night because she's so disturbed about people leaving, trying to find more people, having them stay engaged, getting them excited. It's like, oh my gosh, she just was in pain, terrible pain. So if you relate to any of that, or if you know someone that maybe is telling you their woes at work, and if 80% of our life is about work, let's make it great. Let's really turn on the brilliance that's available to us and turbocharge that team in ways that they like and they want to participate and join in. They really do want to do a good job. So join me. We're going to have a great webinar. And the other thing about it is, tell your friends that have businesses or that are in management roles that you hear their frustration. Please invite them to join me. And I'm going to leave the link underneath this video, and please share the video. Thank you, Dawn, for doing that. I really appreciate that so much. You've been so great about that. And spread the word. You know how miserable people are. Let's just end this misery and start a movement. And the movement is to create every work environment to be a great place to go and innovate, collaborate, and actually move the needle so that things are going really well and that companies are thriving and that everybody in there is a part of it. So thanks for joining me. I expect to see you on that webinar. So hit the webinar link when I post it up, which will be just a few minutes from now, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Also, I'm going to be on Facebook Live again on Thursday, so I'm back to my routine, which I love, of sharing. And if you have any topics you'd really like me to investigate and to bring my treasures so you can have them, please list them and comment, because it means a lot to me to have you comment on this. And I just want to make sure that my intention to serve is actually being fulfilled on your end. So thank you so much. I'll see you Thursday and Tuesday at the webinar. Take care.